consider myself a writer. I'm not offended if someone calls me a sex writer. Writing about sex is something I found out I'm good at. I enjoy writing about sex. There are times, though, when the last thing I want to do is write about sex. I used to write a sex column for the Village Voice, and I got a lot of responses from that. It was wonderful, but it's also a double-edged sword, because I think people think you're more accessible than you are. This is, by the way, this is very surreal. I'm like reading from quotes from myself. People think that you want to sleep with them or give them sex advice, and they want to tell you really personal things, often. Best Bondage Erotica 2011 is the first of a new series I'm editing, and my job as an editor is to balance out different elements of a theme, in this case, bondage. So some of the stories are intense and physical, some are lighter and funnier. There's one where someone gets tied up with Ethernet cables. I'm improvising here. It asks and answers the questions: why is someone wanting to tie another person up? Why is someone wanting to be tied up? And also, what can you do with someone while they're tied up? And there's also cling wrap and other devices in the book that you might not think of as bondage materials. My story in the book is called Vegas Treat, and it's about a 21-year-old girl who goes to Vegas to celebrate her birthday with her boyfriend. She's excited, but he's very blasé and ignores her. And then this is where the story gets kind of meta. And she winds up meeting this photographer who wants to take these sexy photos of her. And she gets to be an exhibitionist, and it's about that discovery for her. And it kind of has this what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas element, except that I wrote a story about it. This is the part, this is from the story of Vegas Treat. I reached for a pair of purple padded cuffs. It's always been, no? What did I skip? Should I just look at the screen? Sorry, 5, thank you. I apologize. I fingered the metal clamps, my body already seizing up, tightening in reaction to them. You want me to wear all of them? I asked softly. I'd been the one to volunteer for the bondage photo shoot. It was true. I'd never done anything quite like that before, but when he'd seen me strolling around Las Vegas while on vacation with the boyfriend I was pretty sure I wanted to break up with, Tyler had picked me out and approached me. I felt like a modern-day Lana Turner, but instead of a drugstore counter, I'd been approached at a slot machine, where I was well on my way to losing many quarters. I guess I'd looked the part of bad girl gone wrong. The slot machines were kind of fun, but not enough to make up for feeling like I was so undesirable. My boyfriend was more interested in money than me. And that's how I wound up topless, wearing just my skimpy panties, while Tyler dangled a pair of nipple clamps in front of me. Actually, it wasn't a pair. It was a triple. I wasn't a virgin or anything, obviously, but maybe I'd been meeting the wrong men, because none had ever proposed so much as a threesome, let alone bondage and sex toys. Now, Rena, oh, also FYI, this is an edited version of the story. You have to read the whole story to find out what happens. Now, Rena, you know this is going to hurt, right? Come over here for a minute, he said, then showed me the biggest collection of handcuffs I've ever seen, even now, years later, and I've seen a lot. There must have been 3 dozen sets, from metal ones to padded leather to silk to fur-lined. Some had pink hearts, some shiny black bows, some had Velcro. One pair said brat across them. I didn't even know that handcuffs came in such assortments. I'd truly never given it any thought. I'd barely ever had anyone even hold me down. I shivered. You like what you see, Rena? Yes, I said softly. I reached for a pair of purple padded cuffs. It's always been my favorite color. They were soft to the touch, nothing menacing about them, nothing except the look on Tyler's face, like he could read my every pervy thought. Was I that easy? I'll help you get ready. He hummed as if to himself, as he bound my arms behind my back with the cuffs. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but you guys can read this on the screen and on ActivateComics.com. Tyler took the clamps and fastened them one by one on each nipple. He knelt down and just stared for a moment, then asked, "Are you ready, Rena?" "Don't breathe through the pain. Breathe into it," he told me. "Can I tape your mouth?" he asked, holding up the bondage tape. I surprised myself by moaning. Yes, it all hurt, but even more, it felt wonderful to have my wrists warm and snug in the leather, the heat coursing through all 3 points of contact of the clamps. I should have been nervous, scared, something like that, but I wasn't. The tape was almost gentle as it encased my lips, sealed me in tight, swaddled me into silence. I swallowed hard, and without any warning, he started shooting. I stared back at him, bold, direct, my green eyes fixed on him, hoping he liked what he saw. Tyler was so focused on whatever he saw through his machine, I didn't know if he even realized all the emotions I was going through. I was wet, turned on, unsure if it was from being bound or because of him or both. I became the brat who wanted to get her punishment, the girl whose body was blatantly exposed to not just Tyler, but the world. All right, we can go to the next one. Sorry. I realized that though he had been the one to physically tie me up, to put the clamps on, I was the one bringing the real show. Amidst so much fake glamour, this was real. I focused on his mantra to breathe into the pain, and I did, every second of it. The tears came unbidden as I took deep breaths through my nose, walking close to Tyler's camera until I could toss my hair back, feel it tickle my bound wrists, and expose my clamped nipples right to the eye of his camera. There was nothing youthful about this. This was my initiation ritual, my belated birthday present, my kinky debutante ball featuring just the two of us. I gave myself to him as I'd done before. I cried when I came, and he kissed my neck, then my lips, placing his over mine so he could take my breath from me too. So that was the end of the excerpt from Vegas Treat. People always ask me where my story ideas come from. I take from my collective experiences of being in similar situations. For example, the character in Vegas Treat is 21 and much less experienced than me, but there have been times I've been with someone who knew about something I didn't, and I remember feeling nervous and wanting to please them. I don't think you have to have been tied up to write a story about bondage. You just need a good imagination and some research. So thank you to Seth. Again, you can see this in full at Activate Comics. That's comics with an X.com.